Time was passing, and it was now time to irrigate the fields. Chaudhry Qadir, in his typical commanding tone, reminded his worker Maya and called out for him. Maya immediately went to wake up the young Chaudhry. The young Chaudhry, whose name was Chaudhry Javed, was Qadir's only son. The entire village adored him and fondly called him Chaudhry, a nickname he absolutely hated. Javed was a handsome and striking young man, standing at the threshold of 22. Chaudhry Qadir had now reached that age where men mostly sit at home and nostalgically recall the days of household chores. The moment his wife Chaudhrani found out Javed was heading to the fields to water the crops, she started protesting loudly. "Chaudhry, I won't let my son go today. It's Thursday, and that silly boy wears perfume all day long. On top of that, it's the land with the peepal tree. It will be dark soon. No way, I'm not letting my son go." She said all this in her signature melodramatic style. Before Qadir could respond, Maya brought Javed, who had already changed his clothes. Soon, both Javed and Maya were ready to leave. "Amaji, you're my mother, that's why you worry. Maya and I will just go and water the fields and come back. You always get anxious hearing about that Peepal land. That poor mad woman just wanders there. She doesn't even know who she is, let alone do anything to us." Javed hugged his mother. "Son, but what about what people say?" she replied. Just then, Maya arrived with all the tools needed for irrigation. They both saluted Chaudhry and Chaudhrani and headed to the fields. Most farms had kikar or shisham trees, but in the center of Chaudhry's land stood a giant peepal tree. And there was a very well-known story about it. Once, a young girl from the potter's family mysteriously disappeared from her home. After searching around, they reached the peepal tree and found her in a strange condition. She was neither conscious nor aware. Her hair was messy. When they woke her up, her eyes were bloodshot and her breath so fast as if she had returned from a long journey. She was brought home in this condition, and the village cleric Maulvi Sahib was called to perform spiritual healing Dumdarud, but the story didn't end there. Now, it started happening frequently. The girl would suddenly disappear at night and be found in the morning Ganchas under the same peepal tree. Allah Raka the potter, a poor man, couldn't afford to take her to a city hospital or a renowned spiritual healer. The local cleric's prayers had no effect. In fact, her condition worsened, where earlier she went into that trance-like state once a week. Now she was found almost every day in the same state under the tree. Poor Alaraka gave up. If she wasn't home by evening, he'd go bring her back from the tree. It was as if the peepal tree had become her real home. One day, Shota Chaudhary, Javed, and Maya had finished irrigating the fields. Javed, teasing Maya, said, "Go check under the peepal tree, see if the potter's girl is there." Maya turned pale. "Pray she's not there. Today it's Thursday. I've heard from elders that this night belongs to spirits. Humans shouldn't wander." Javed, laughed Maya. "Look behind you. Something's standing there." Maya jumped like he stepped on a snake. "Please don't joke like that. My heart can't take it. It's just dusk. Not even midnight yet." Still talking, they walked toward the peepal tree. The air had a chill. The tree swayed like a drunken elephant. Dry leaves rustled unnaturally. Maya was looking around so sharply, it seemed like he could see even if someone was buried underground. They laid a cloth and sat to eat. "See what the mistress cooked, goat meat," Maya said. "Smells amazing," Javed replied. They joked and talked like close friends. Maya even told Javed, "You know, she loves you like a son. She always says Allah gave you to her after many prayers." As darkness fell and the village dogs started barking at the jackals, the two were quietly eating when suddenly they heard footsteps on dry leaves fast coming toward them from the other side of the tree. The thick trunk blocked their view. Maya moved closer to Javed. They couldn't see far in the dark. "Who's there? Come forward," Javed shouted. but no reply came. "Light the torch, Maya," he said. Maya hesitated, then angled the torch to peek past the tree. As he cast the light forward, he screamed, "Javid Bai!" But the next word stuck in his throat as he trembled in fear. In the midst of all this, Javed, with a hesitant attitude, stood where Maya had been before, still attempting unsuccessfully to speak. On the other side of the tree, there was complete darkness. The last days of the month were passing, and the moon had yet to rise. Javed first pulled Maya back and took the flashlight from his trembling hands. He pointed the light where he hadn't been able to see earlier. The light illuminated where Kamli, Maya's daughter, had been. Her breaths were shallow, with one breath coming up and another going down. Javed was not a coward. He had come to the fields many times before to water them. He was familiar with every inch of the land, and he had spent time sitting under this very tree, getting to know the place. It was ironic that he had never seen Kamli since she had fallen into this strange state. The villagers had given her the name Kamli, but her real name was Rani. The Rani he knew was a beautiful young girl, who wore simple clothes but didn't need expensive ones to appear attractive. But now, what he saw was a different girl, sitting under the tree, hugging her knees. Her white clothes were now stained and filthy. Her long black hair touched the ground, and she was sobbing uncontrollably. This scene was terrifying. For the first time in his life, Javed was experiencing something so horrifying. He was still staring at her when suddenly she lifted her head and let out a laugh so eerie that Javed almost fainted. For the first time, he saw her face in this maddened state. She was the same Rani, but now she had become Kamli. Her face was yellow, her eyes red and wild, and her breathing was erratic, indicating that she was under the influence of an unseen force. Maya hadn't seen her face, or he would have fainted right there. At that moment, Kamli placed her hands on the ground, tried to stand up, and staggered forward like a toddler learning to walk. After taking a few steps, she came out from behind the tree. Maya could now see her clearly. "Javed, run. This is Kamli, run," he screamed in panic as he stepped back. Kamli staggered toward them, the dry leaves crunching under her feet, making the atmosphere even more terrifying. Suddenly, her body jerked, her body lifted into the air, and she began to cry out loudly. Her black hair swayed in the air. This was the scene that made Maya scream and faint onto the ground. Her cries now sounded like the screeching of cats, fighting the noise growing louder and louder. The wind also picked up, causing the dry leaves of the peepal tree to fall rapidly. There was no doubt now that Rani was under the influence of some jinn or witches. She was a powerful being, but even her strength was beginning to falter. She needed to stay strong for herself and for Maya, or this night could very well be their last. As the situation grew more desperate, Javed felt trapped in some invisible force. His hands and feet felt bound, his tongue was numb, and as the sound of the cats fighting grew louder, he was losing consciousness. Meanwhile, the anxiety of the village matron, the Chowdhury's wife, increased as she anxiously waited for her son to return from the fields where he was supposed to be watering the crops. She had heard the rumors of Kamli being found near the peepal tree. The Chowdhury tried to console her, telling her that her son would be fine. But the matron wasn't convinced. She urged him to go check with the potter's house to see if Kamli was there. Eventually, after much insistence, the Chowdhury went to the potter's house, knocking on the old door. "Who's there?" asked the potter, Allah Raka, cautiously. "It's me, Chowdhury, Kadir Baksh," the Chowdhury replied. "Oh, Chowdhury Sahib," the potter responded, surprised, quickly opening the door. "Is everything all right?" Before the Chowdhury could respond, he was shocked to see the matron standing beside him. "Good fortune has come to me today. My sister Chowdhury is here at our house. Come in, Chowdhury baby. Please come in. Brother, we have prepared a good place for you. We didn't mean to trouble you. The truth is, my heart is sinking, and I couldn't sleep. Your nephew, little Chowdhury, went to water the fields near the Peepal tree land, and hasn't returned yet. I just wanted to ask if Rani daughter is at home or not today. Chowdhury Bibi, I brought Rani back in the evening, but her condition worsened as soon as darkness fell, and she seemed to have flown away somewhere. It's quite late now, and I am exhausted from work all day, so I haven't gone to get her back. You know she's over by the Peepal tree. Oh my Allah! As soon as Chowdhury heard that Kamli was not at home, she became convinced that her son's life was in danger. Chowdhury started wailing loudly. Her cries echoed, and hearing them, a door from the nearby house opened. Malvi Sahib appeared, rubbing his eyes in distress. He was confused and worried, but before he could speak, Chowdhury spoke up. Bibi, Malvi Sahib, Rani is not at home, and my Javid, my son, has gone to water the land near the Peepal tree. I am scared. Malvi Sahib, before Chowdhury could say more, he said, come with me, but you go home. Chowdhury Bibi, Allah will protect. As they moved toward the Peepal tree, Kamli, who had been circling the tree in a terrifying form, started slowly descending. Javid, trapped in an unseen prison, could not move. Only his eyes could see and feel everything. His poor uncle had already fainted. Unaware of the situation, Kamli stood in front of Javid and said, you don't know this is my house, my home. How dare you come here? Now I will make sure no one dares to come near here again. These lands will turn barren. In her rage, Kamli screamed so loudly that Javid's eardrums almost shattered. Javid felt her face morphing, her teeth growing sharper, wrinkles forming like a 1,000-year-old hag, and her feet twisting backward. Her nails grew long, and her hands sprouted dark, coarse hair. Her face no longer resembled Rani, but turned into a horrifying form, neither human nor animal, at this moment. If the bravest person had witnessed her, they would have died on the spot. Javid felt unbearable pain in his arms, as if some unseen force was twisting them. It was undoubtedly the witch's curse. The pain was excruciating, but he couldn't do anything. He wanted to scream, to recite something, but his voice was stuck. In his throat, the pain gradually spread to his legs, and his legs started to twist, and he collapsed onto the ground. Camel said, first I will break every joint of yours, then I will devour you. Your bones will never be found by anyone. She approached, and with her long, sharp nails, she scratched Javid's cheek. As soon as blood began to drip, she hissed like a cat, every day, I will devour one part of you. You will die a slow and painful death. Kamli's sinister laughter echoed, but it suddenly stopped, replaced by the sound of her sobbing asterisk. Javid felt his senses returning. He could hear his father and Kamharala Raka's voice, and also the voice of Malvi Sahib, who was loudly reciting Ayat al-Kursi and the four calls. As soon as these words reached the witch's ears, she began to choke again and started to transform back into Kamli. In a cloud of black smoke, Kamli's form escaped from her body and vanished into the air. Kamli's body collapsed to the ground like a severed tree stump, and Javid began to feel movement in his arms and legs. He rose to his feet, and soon Chowdhury Malvi Sahib and Alaraka arrived. Chowdhury, relieved, embraced Javid and said, is my son all right? Alaraka was shaking his unconscious daughter, while Malvi Sahib splashed water on the face of the fainted Javid's uncle. Javid said, Alhamdulillah, you came just in time. Otherwise, she would have killed me. She is a great evil that has taken control of Rani. But as soon as you arrived, she turned into smoke and disappeared into the air. Malvi Sahib replied, the words of Allah are the truth and very powerful, but I am just a simple imam. This evil is beyond my strength. You should call a learned scholar from the city to deal with it, or else your lives will be in danger. Hurry and leave. Staying here is not safe. Javid listened carefully and said, Thank you, Maulvi Sahib. Then, Javed's uncle suddenly stirred, and his body, like a goat being dragged, began to rise. Oh, my brave son, you're awake, Chowdhury said, patting him. Now, let's gather the belongings, and we'll talk at home. Chowdhury Bibi is very worried, Javed. Carry Rani on your back. Tomorrow, I'll send someone to the city to fetch a scholar. Chowdhury Kadir spoke to Javed. Thank you, Chowdhury Sahib. Allah bless you. 3 days before, the servant sent by Chowdhury had brought a learned elder, Baba, from the city. Surprisingly, the witch had not attacked Kamli yet. Everything seemed to be normal. After the incident, Javed had become cautious. He now feared Kamli and the Peepal tree. Baba, the elder, had been staying at Chowdhury's camp, but had found no sign of the witch yet. Today was Monday, the 27th of the lunar month, and the wind had picked up from the afternoon, turning into a storm. The rural area was filled with dust in the air. Baba, as usual, was engaged in his prayers and rituals. The stray dogs in the streets, instead of barking, had become quiet. Baba, with his eyes closed and focused on his prayer beads, began to chant more rapidly. He blew air over the water he held in his hand. After a while, he grabbed the hanging lantern in the room and stepped outside. The wind was blowing strongly, causing the lantern's flame to flicker, brightening and dimming. Seeing the light outside, Javed came out of his room. Baba smiled at Javed and handed him the water bowl, silently urging him to drink.
Javed understood the purpose of Baba as they walked through the village streets toward the Peepal tree. After a while, the tree began to appear ominously, swaying in the strong wind. Javed's mind was filled with images from the recent past. The Peepal tree, under the dark night and strong gusts of wind, looked menacing. It seemed as though the tree had transformed into a witch's form. When they reached the tree, Baba drew a circle on the ground with his staff, then turned to Javed and said, Javed son, stay inside this circle. Allah will protect you. No matter what happens, you must not step outside of it, nor should you respond to any sounds unless I say so. Also, keep an eye on the water. I'm going to the other side of the tree. With that, Baba patted Javed's shoulder and moved to the other side of the tree. Javed sat down inside the circle, holding the water containers tightly with both hands. He waited for a long time, and nothing happened. Baba's voice was also absent, which made Javed realize that the witch hadn't appeared yet. Then, suddenly, the sound of anklets could be heard, transforming into the eerie growl of several cats. Fear surged through Javed's body as he saw Kamli approaching, the growling of cats emanating from her mouth. As she neared the tree, she began to transform. Kamli was no longer herself. She had turned into a full-fledged witch. The atmosphere around them grew even more terrifying. Kamli let out a loud scream, soaring into the air and circling the Peepal tree. When she landed, she had turned into a bloodthirsty wolf, growling fiercely as she faced the other side of the tree. Suddenly, from the other side of the tree, a mighty lion appeared. The lion immediately attacked the wolf, both creatures trying to claw at each other's necks. The battle was intense, with the wolf gaining the upper hand at times, but overall, the lion was stronger. The wolf, realizing it was losing, tried to flee, but the lion wouldn't let it escape. The wolf then leaped into the air, and the lion pounced, but the wolf turned into black smoke and vanished into the air. The lion returned to where it came from. This first battle between Baba and the witch ended in Baba's victory, but it was just the beginning. Afterward, the sounds of the cats growling returned. From all directions, hundreds of cats began to gather around the tree, emerging from the fields. These cats were unlike ordinary ones. They were bigger, more terrifying, and had glowing eyes. In no time, there was barely any space left. But none of the cats crossed the circle's boundary. They waited, watching to see what Baba would do next. However, on the other side of the tree, there was complete silence. After a while, the cats began to leave, returning to the fields where they came from. Once the cats were gone, Javed breathed a sigh of relief. He had been watching the entire drama unfold, but neither the wolf nor the cats had attacked him. The storm had stopped, but the peepal tree continued to face an unseen storm. Then, from the fields, Javed began to hear a rustling sound. He saw a huge black dragon heading straight toward him. It was the largest dragon he had ever seen. For a moment, he thought of running, but Baba's words echoed in his mind. No matter what happens, do not leave the circle. The dragon approached and stood right in front of him, its body several times larger than Javed's. If it opened its mouth, Javed knew he would be devoured entirely. The dragon circled the perimeter of the circle before retreating back to the fields. As it disappeared, Javed heard the sound of anklets again, this time coming from the front. A woman dressed as a bride was coming down the road. Even in the darkness, she shone like the moon, though her face was hidden behind a veil. When she reached Javed, she removed the veil, and it was none other than Kamli, now dressed as a complete bride. She was so beautiful that Javed had never seen such a stunning woman before. She smiled at Javed continuously. "Come, Javed," she said. "Let's walk into our world, a world where no one will be there, just you and I, and our love. Come, Javed, don't trap yourself inside this circle. Look at how beautifully I've prepared myself for you. Don't delay, come to me." Her voice was full of enchantment, like magic. Javed felt as though he was losing control over himself. He was so close to rising and walking toward her, but from the other side of the tree, he heard the loud roar of a lion, which stopped Javed from moving. The roar pulled him out of the witch's spell. The woman, now in her witch form, angrily stomped her feet and moved to the other side of the tree where Baba had gone. She shouted in anger, "What do you think? That you'll leave here alive and free the queen? I will burn both of you alive." Her voice carried a harsh edge that made Javed's ears ache. Just then, the peepal tree shook violently, as though it were about to collapse. The roots seemed to be coming loose from the ground. It felt as if the tree would fall on both him and Baba, crushing them. Panicking, Javed made up his mind to step outside the circle, but as he began to rise, he heard the lions roar again from behind the tree, as though it was warning him not to leave the circle. He understood Baba's silent message and, invoking Allah's name, he sat back down. The lion retreated, and Baba's voice reached him. "Son, Javed, I am very thirsty. Come here and give me some water. I am exhausted from fighting the witch. If I don't get water, I will die, and the witch will kill you as well. For Allah's sake, come quickly, son, and give me water." Baba was begging now, but Javed remembered Baba's earlier words, not to trust any voice, and not to step outside the circle. Javed stayed where he was, clutching the water with both hands. After a while, Baba's voice became angry. He was now shouting and demanding the water, but Javed didn't move. Finally, Baba's voice stopped, and Javed heard the cries of many women, as though they were mourning. "Oh no! Did you hear? The witch has killed Chaudhary and his wife. Someone go and inform the younger Chaudhary. Oh Allah!" The voices of mourning grew louder, and Javed's heart sank. He thought of calling out to Baba to ask if it was true, but before he could, Kamli emerged from behind the tree. This time, she was dressed in old, tattered clothes, her hands stained with blood. "I've just killed the Chaudhary and his wife," she said. "Don't believe me? Go and see for yourself. Now step outside the circle and I'll show you." The voices of women mourning continued from the village, but Javed didn't respond to the witch. He remained silent, staring at her. "You both will die. I'm going to kill you all," she said with an evil smile. At that moment, Baba Alam emerged quickly from the other side of the tree and struck Kamli's legs with his staff. Kamli collapsed to the ground, and Baba Alam quickly drew a circle around her and began to rapidly move his prayer beads. As Kamli tried to escape the circle, a fiery blaze shot toward her, but she immediately backed away. She tried again to escape from the other side of the circle, but once again the same thing happened. "Let me out, let me go," she screamed loudly, but Baba Alam remained calm, eyes closed, continuing to move his beads. After a while, Baba Alam opened his eyes, looked at Kamli and spoke. "Tell me, why have you captured this girl? Speak now, or prepare to die." With these words, Baba Alam took the water from Javed's hands and sprinkled it on Kamli's face. In pain, Kamli writhed on the ground, crying out loudly, "Stop, stop, I'll tell you everything." She was very beautiful. Every day, she would come here with her mother to cut grass. I hated myself when I saw her, so I captured her and destroyed her beauty. Finally, the witch confessed her reason true beauty lies not in faces, but in hearts, in character. Those who chase after outer beauty lose their true path. "You've crossed your limits now, Kamli. There's no way back for you," Baba Alam said as he placed the prayer beads around Kamli's neck. "No, no, don't kill me. Let me go, let me go. I will never come back again, please," she begged, clutching the beads, her hands and neck emitting smoke. She writhed in agony on the ground, and the smoke gradually spread. Her cries ceased as the smoke dissipated. When the smoke was gone, Kamli lay unconscious on the ground. Baba Alam sprinkled water on her face, and she woke up, sitting up and fixing her veil. "Where are we? What happened to me?" she asked. "It's just a simple ailment that's been cured, daughter. Drink this water and we'll go home now." Baba Alam patted Javed's shoulder and said, "Well done, Javed. I've never seen a brave young man like you." When they arrived in the village, the call for Fajr dawn prayer echoed. Baba Alam asked Javed to take Rani back to her home and went to his place after breakfast. Baba Alam gave a brief account of the situation to the Chaudhary, who couldn't believe it. Just then, a potter named Alaraka appeared at Baba Alam's place. As soon as he entered, he greeted everyone and began to kiss Baba Alam's hands. Baba Alam smiled, saying, "I am a poor man. I have nothing to give except prayers, Alhamdulillah." "Baba Alam, you saved my daughter from that curse. I will be grateful to you for the rest of my life," said Alaraka. Baba Alam responded, "Brother, thank Allah. Everything comes from him. What can a man do? It is all his will." Saying this, Baba Alam stood up and whispered something in the Chaudhary's ear. The Chaudhary smiled and replied, "How can there be hesitation in good deeds, Baba Alam?" With this, the Chaudhary spread out his cloak in front of Alaraka, who immediately understood and embraced the Chaudhary thus. The marriage of Rani and Javed was arranged, and the next day, Baba Alam returned to the city.